So the question is, do you think she paid the cost of the grant, or she paid more, or she paid less? Hi, I'm back for part two of the story of, did she pay? Did the client pay for the services? So remember, a few months ago, we worked with a client, and she hired us to write a grant for her. And the grant did not win the grant award. And she was very frustrated, extremely upset. I felt like I was losing her to this false narrative that grant awards are a myth, and I did not want to lose her to that false narrative. So I said to her that, you know what? Let us go ahead and write the next two grants for you for free, because that is a strategy of large numbers. Meaning, if you do enough of a thing, then one, you will get better at it, and the opportunity for success has drastically increased because you have done so much. So I highly promote to my clients that you can't sit there and just write one grant, two grant, three grants for the whole year, 12 months. There is just one grant, two grant, three grant that has been submitted to funding agencies from your organization for grant awards. Grant funding is free money, which means that it's extremely competitive. Where there is money, there is high competition. So if you're serious about getting and winning grant funding, especially for this year for 2020, you must submit massive amounts of applications. Massive amounts. What does massive amount of applications mean? You want to give it everything you have. You want to throw all your resources at it, all of your available personnel that can write grants, all of the money that you can allocate and budget for a professional grant writer, or to hire someone and bring on an on staff grant writer. You want to seriously approach grant applications to ask for grant funding, because it's free money, it's a grant. So, where there is money, there is going to be fierce competition. So, in order for you to be successful, you have to utilize the principle of large numbers. You have to submit a lot of grant applications. So I try to utilize that principle with this client. I know that it's possible that one could fail because it's the only one. It's the only one. So the possibility exists that one grant would fail. So if there one grant application would fail, so if there are multiple grant applications, then you stand a better chance that one or maybe even both would succeed. And that is exactly what happened in this scenario, where the other two that we wrote for her for free, because I did not want to put any roadblocks in her way to say, yes, let's go ahead, let's give it another shot. So I said to her, let us do these two grants for you for free. We will absorb our own labor costs. And just to show you that the principle is true, it does exist, that you must apply for multiple grants in order to be successful. So yesterday I asked the question if she paid, because she said during the process of us writing these two grants together, which was a fair amount of work to create a grant application two times over. We did it for two grants. And she said during the course of the work that we were doing, she said, you know what? I'm going to pay you for these grants if they're successful. and they were both successful. So I asked yesterday if you believe that she was true to her word and she paid. So the answer is yes, she did pay. She did pay. She was true to her word and she paid. She said, you know what? Uh, and she said it verbally too. So it wasn't as if it was in writing or anything like that. She said it verbally. So she could have backed out at any time. She could have been like, I don't remember saying that, or yes, I said that, but uh, I didn't take it to my board. I didn't get it approved or anything like that. So I don't know why I put myself out there like that. But she is a honorable lady, and she did compensate us for those 2 grants. So human nature is great. Human nature is extremely altruistic. We see the news, and the news sometimes it's all gloom and doom, worst case scenario all the time. But one thing about, and humans are in the news, most of the time they're the one making the bad news stories. But one thing about human nature, the vast majority of people have a kind, loving, gentle, patient, trustworthy heart, free from any biases and discrimination. Most people do. Most people do. But unfortunately, most people don't make the news. A very narrow select group of people, they make the news over and over and over again, which makes it seem like they're the majority, but they're not the majority at all. They're a very small minority, but they make the news all the time. And then people like my client here, being so true to her word, and other people like her don't make the news. So I'm doing my part to say human nature is extremely kind, extremely loving, and I want to showcase that to say she actually did pay. So, my question for you, now I have another question for you. I want to ask you, do you think she paid what we normally charge? Because she knows what we charge for those grants, because I promote that grant to her with the costs attached to it. So she knows those were grants that she was interested in applying for, but she was not going to go down that road again to apply for it. So I know that she knows the cost for the grant. So the question is, do you think she paid the cost of the grant, or she paid more, or she paid less? What do you think that she did? So please provide your answer in the comments below if you believe she paid more, she paid what we charge normally for those grants, or she paid less. So tomorrow I'll come out with another video for you and let you know the answer to that question. So see you in tomorrow's video. So remember to comment below if she paid more, if she paid exactly what we charge for those 2 grants, or she paid less.